All right, today we're going to get our hands dirty with a really cool tool, the Hosi MEQ5. This thing is an absolute beast when it comes to tackling one of the trickiest parts of any mix, the mid-range. We're going to break down exactly how it works and how you can use it to really shape and define your sound.
You know the feeling, right? You've got all the pieces of your track in place, but it just sounds, well, kind of messy. Maybe the vocals are getting buried or the guitars have this weird boxy quality. It's a super common problem, and it almost always comes from a crowded mid-range.
And this is what we're talking about today as the fix. The Hosi MEQ5 isn't one of those EQs that tries to do everything. Nope, it's more like a scalpel. It's inspired by that legendary Pultec gear, and it has one mission, to give you complete control over your mids. It's seriously the secret weapon for turning that mud into something powerful and clear.
Okay, so let's pop the hood and see what makes this thing tick. The whole plugin is built around 3 super musical EQ bands. Instead of getting lost in a million options, the MEQ5 forces you to focus on what really matters. Let's look at these sculpting tools one by one.
First up, we've got the low-mid boost. Think of this as your warmth and fullness knob. If you've got a vocal that sounds a little thin, or maybe a guitar that's lacking some oomph, this is where you go to bring back that foundational weight and make things sound solid.
Now, here's where it gets really practical. Look at these frequencies. They're not random. They're chosen for specific jobs. A little boost at 200 or 300 hertz, that's perfect for beefing up a bass or a kick drum. Move up to 500 or 700, and now you're adding that chest resonance to a vocal or the nice woody tone of an acoustic. And that 1K setting, that just gives things a nice push forward without making them harsh. All right, next up is the mid dip. Now, if the boost knob is for adding, this is your tool for taking away. This is the surgeon that carves out all that junk that can make a mix feel crowded. That cardboard box sound on a snare, this is how you get rid of it. You use this to create a perfect little pocket for your main vocal to sit right in.
And wow, just look at this frequency range. You've got 11 different points to choose from, going all the way from 200 hertz up to 7K. What that means is you have incredible control. You can do these big, gentle scoops to clean up the low mids, or you can do really precise surgical cuts to tame some nasty harshness way up high. It's easily the most flexible part of the whole plugin.
And last but not least, the high mid boost. This is your make it pop control. You know, when a vocal just needs to slice through a wall of guitars, or a snare needs that extra bit of snap, this is the band you reach for. It brings things right to the front of the speaker, adding that professional edge and clarity.
So the real pro tip here is knowing exactly where to boost. A little nudge at 1.5 or 2K can make a guitar just sing. Need that snare to really crackle? 3 or 4K is your magic zone. And if you want to hear the click of the kick beater or the sound of the pick hitting the acoustic strings, 5K is where that lives. It's all about adding excitement, but with total precision.
But wait, there's more. The MEQ5 isn't just about shaping frequencies. It's got a couple of extra tricks up its sleeve that add that final bit of polish and character, kind of blending that old-school analog vibe with modern digital clarity.
And this is one of my favorite parts, the tube drive. Now this isn't some face-melting distortion, it's much more subtle. It adds these gentle harmonics that kind of glue the sound together, giving it that warm, cohesive feeling you get from old-school analog gear. Just a little bit can make a track feel so much more finished.
Okay, here's a really important workflow tip that can make a huge difference. You've got 2 processing modes. Normal mode is super light on your computer's processor, so it's perfect for when you're still writing and arranging. But when you're ready for that final mixdown, you'll want to flip it over to high quality mode. It uses a process called oversampling to give you a much cleaner, more pristine sound, especially if you're boosting the highs or using that tube drive. It just keeps everything smooth.
All right, theory's cool and all, but let's get to the fun part. Welcome to the workshop. We're going to look at some super practical starting points for some common instruments. Think of these like little recipes or blueprints that'll get you 90% of the way there really, really fast. So let's walk through these. Take a male vocal. You add some body down at 300 hertz, scoop out that muddy sound around 500, and then you add that nice presence up at 4K hertz. Boom, done. See the logic? Or how about an electric guitar? Add fullness at 200, but then carve out a little room at 700 so the vocal can shine through. Then add some bite at 2K. And the snare? Give it power at 200, take out the boxiness at 1K, and then add that perfect snap at 5K. It's a complete game plan for each instrument.
So we've covered the tools, the techniques, and even some starting points. Now it's really about putting it all into practice. The real magic of this thing is how focused and simple it is.
And honestly, this quote says it all. The mid-range is where all the action happens in your mix. It's where the vocals live, where the snare cracks, where the guitars have their voice. If you can get a handle on that one area, you are well on your way to getting a powerful, pro-sounding mix. It's that simple.
So I guess the only question left is, what are you going to fix first? That muddy vocal track you've been struggling with? That snare that just doesn't pop? You've got the guide now, you've got the blueprints, so go start experimenting and hear what a difference it makes. Happy mixing.